Hiya, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat, and guess what? 2 days before my daughter gets married, and she's just asked me whether I can find another bonsai for the actual centrepiece of the table. Now I have got a jade, but do you know what? I have promised that I'd be dealing with my Cascade, especially my Cotoneaster, which is in flower. But you probably can't see that because the sun is glaring in across my bald pate. So let's go and have a look closer, shall we? Well, there it is in front of the blue background, and if you watched my video I did last year, you'll know that this one has just grown organically. It's Cotoneaster that came from a cutting. It had the usual one that's pointing downwards for a Cascade as an obvious choice, and like a lot of my sort of smaller sort of cutting type trees, I tend to leave them until inspiration comes, or suddenly I look at it and go, I know exactly what I can do with that. So one thing I'll say to you is definitely, if you've got cuttings there that you look at and you think, I'm never going to turn a bonsai into that, well if you're me, you're probably right. But no, seriously, just cut the odd branch here away and then leave it in the corner for another year. The more cuttings you've got, the more fun you can have. But anyway, this is where we are now with this, and well, you'll already know by now because the wedding will have already happened and you'll have already seen the show trees, but literally it's 2 days before Tammy's wedding, and she said to me, oh, any chance you can find me another special sort of smaller tree that we can have between myself and Rod? Not me and Rod, Tammy and Rod. And Rod wanted flowers, and I sort of explained that of course the azaleas have all done out. And then I saw this one. Well, I should be preparing my speech actually, but you know me, I'll tend to wing it, to be fair.
He's a wild card, flies by the seat of his pants.
This has got lovely white flowers on it, and what I realised is that it could actually look quite effective overhanging the main table. So I'm just going to neaten this up. I've got to be careful because I don't want to go too crazy, because I don't want to lose the flowers on it, and see how this works out. But also, for those of you who want to see how I try and construct me cascades, well, watch on. And just as a little spoiler or teaser, let's have a look at the other one I started last year. Yeah, as I was saying, I've got this one, which I did a first ever Cascade video, because I've never actually constructed a Cascade properly. Some will say I still haven't, but this is how it's looking now. And again, this Chinese Elm started life as a cutting in the retreat. And if you want to see more about how this came together, then I'm sure the video card is flashing up somewhere. I do ask that you have a look at it, because it was another one of those firsts for me, and you know how excited I get when I do things for the first time. So all I'm going to be doing really with this one is just make sure there's loads of fertilizer in there, but the wire, again, going to come off. So I've got it on a tension there just to try and keep the angle downwards. It was something that was suggested to me in the last video in the comments, and if I remember or can find the name, it'll be coming up now actually, but thank you very much. So I did increase the bend down a bit. I have no doubt I'll probably need to do it again, and this will get wired again and again. What I need from it this year is lots of growth, so I can start just looking at a pad here, maybe a pad here. And I've still got to decide with the two twin trunks that are coming down, one's going to be shorter, one's going to be longer, just see how that works. And probably also have a little look at starting to try and create an apex. So let's crack on, shall we? Oh, one thing I must point out, and it's about wearing appropriate footwear when you're doing your bonsai. You know how clumsy I am, I do drop things, so I think I might actually show you exactly what I wear when I'm doing bonsai.
Do you have to?
Now I know it's not often you get to see the nether regions of Xavier's bonsai retreat, so to speak, but yeah, this is what I wear. A good set of new Oxford dress shoes, and I find they work best because they already have holes in them. No, but seriously, I had to go and buy new suits and new shoes and everything for the wedding, and I'm taking precautionary wearing them in so that while I'm doing my John Travolta disco dancing, what's that supposed to be? I don't know, or is it more that? I won't pinch the back of my heels. Well, hopefully that's more interesting than me doing bonsai, but hey, who knows, by now most of you've switched off, I should think. Let's crack into this Cotoneaster and see what we can make of it, shall we? Now there's actually a few, not complex problems, but if you get in closer, what you will see is that we've got the main cascade coming down here, but we also have underneath here, so this is the main cascade down there, which is really what I want. But here we've actually got a little weenie cascade and also apical region there. Now, for the astute amongst you, you'll be saying, this is an ideal opportunity to a Mame Cascade, because I could actually cut that whole lot up there and create my own little cascade from here, and it would actually probably work out quite well. But that's not what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is clear away some of this roughage so I can actually see what we've got going on. I'm not going to go back too far because, as you know, I still want to present flowers on there, and I've got two more days. I'd imagine these flowers are probably going to bud out. So let's just shorten back stuff that I know I won't keep, and preferably to where there's flower points. I love this weed. Don't know if I'll keep that. I'll get rid of that, I think. So got a nice flower there. Just shorten some of this stuff back for now, because the other thing I want to remember is I'm not intending for this to be judged. I just want it to look pretty and to give that cascade look. So this isn't going to be the ultimate design, I shouldn't think. I want to leave enough that I can create an apical region. There we go. It's a nice flower there. Loads of flowers there might come out. So we've got flower closer in. And by doing this, it's also going to allow me to just see what I've got going on down in the end room, so to speak. So let me just clear away a bit more of the clutter. Now, what I will say at this point is that Cotoneaster, like Chinese Elm, to be honest, absolutely spring out new back budding everything from all over the place. It's another ideal candidate for doing clip and grow. And although I've set up the shape for the Chinese Elm, I'm really intent on trying to make this a clip and grow tree. So if I can avoid wire, I will. I've got to be careful. I keep saying I actually want to keep as much flower on the front as I possibly can, so this won't end up being the final cascade position. In fact, we may even come back after the wedding where I cut it back a bit more, thinking about it. So what's the carnage like so far? Well, Jay, I'm glad you asked. And those of you who know Jay of Blue Jay Bonsai will know he's always a big one for the carnage bucket. So I've already taken off at least a quarter of the foliage. Don't need to worry about that. You can take this right back to basically bare wood, and chances are it will probably do okay. Ideally, after the wedding, I'll come back and cut this back a bit tighter. Probably something you'll notice here, got 1, 2, potentially 3 branches coming out of this same point. We've also got a little bit there which really want to clear out. Again, just want to clean the junctions out. It's actually good to see these junctions. Potentially this back one here will get removed, but I'll leave it for now. But the reason why I want to keep it is because there's so many flower buds on here which I'm hoping will open up, just have this sea of white. Probably take that back a little bit more because the flowers that are there are already going to be on their way out before the wedding. I've no doubt these ones will open up. Smaller pad creation. We'll keep that. Nice flowers there, flowers there. I mean, this is far too deep back. It probably needs to come back. And for those of you watching, I just duck into the frame while I'm still learning about creating the apex for a tree. You know, I tend to stumble around it a bit and sometimes fluke into the right place, but often it's your comments that help me with apex formation, because though it should be easy, yeah, this noggin of mine doesn't always get it right. In fact, rarely gets it right. Now I have got to decide. I've got these branches coming on this side. I'm happy with that. I've got a branch here this side. I've got a layer that's coming out here, one here, and then lower down. So I'm really happy with how that creates the layers. And it may be that I'll actually cut that lower down so we don't get it quite so vertical going downwards and just continue to creep it outwards. But I think it's Guy Watson who's got a really good Cascade Bonsai, Cotoneaster, of I think it's Bognor Regis Bonsai. Haven't seen you for a bit, Guy. But yeah, he's got a great example. But here, I've actually got the opportunity to allow the cascade to come down and get rid of this straight one. Just trying to work out front-wise, if that's the front. Well, we've got this great big long one here coming right across. So let's look where that comes from. That comes from right up there. There's a little shoot in here. So I'm going to get rid of it. See, this is where you could be inclined to, but it's quite hard to wire. It's quite a stiff sort of branch structure. The truth is, yeah, that'll be fine for the wedding, but that bottom third's coming off. Really, we just need to sort this great gangly mess here. It's quite a long piece there, and yes, by the way, cuttings by all means. Poke them into some dirt, be fine. I don't even know if I actually want that to be as far out, to be fair. I want the main line coming straight down. But, for the sake of impressive wedding, I should just cut it there. So we've got this nice thick mane of flowers, hopefully. What do you reckon, front there for the wedding? Okay, well this is where I'm going to leave it. Say, weddings. The time's clicking through. I've got a nice little stand I can put it on, and I keep saying, I've said it 4 times now, so I'll say it 5 times because that's always lucky. This is going to be great for a wedding and overall presentation of flowers, but once we get it back next week, I'll probably go in a lot harder because I want to define where my new growth branches are going to come. I know, couldn't help it. Had to put a mudman on there, but I actually think this works quite well. So that's probably the viewing angle. You can tell I hadn't thought about that before I did the repot on it last year, because where I could have had some nice designs there, that would have been a good front, isn't it? The tree's facing the other way. Yeah, so that's okay. So we'll have the front somewhere around there, and it looks like he's bending down to pick up a flower for his intended. So I think that'll look pretty good on the centre table. Right, now we'll go to the Chinese Elm, shall we? Here's the Chinese Elm, and I've no doubt that when I release the tension, yeah, boings up a lot. I had to take the wire off. It is cutting in. It's part and parcel of what happens with Chinese Elm. They put on girth quickly. You do need to keep on top of it. So I'm going to unwind the wire and try and salvage it, and then reapply it again after I've clipped it back a bit. So I'll just get the wire off first. Got the wire, all wiggly wire off. All I need to do is either put this into a drill, which you've seen me do on a previous short, or just pull and twist with a pair of pliers without knocking that over. And that will be good enough to reuse to reapply the Cascade on that. And then really, again, as with the Cotoneaster, the stuff that's outgrown, I shall remove. Now this branch here is actually really large, whereas I could actually develop it, this one as the new one for it. I'm thinking long term. I want branches to have taper, and this is too long if this is going to be the main branch down, so I'm just going to cut back, remove that, and then what we've got is here, potentially we've got stuff that can grow from here. So that's what I'm going to do today, is get rid of anything that's not going to be of much help or use. Where we've got dead parts, I mean it looks like that died off, we've got dead stub here, get rid of that. Probably we need to get rid of that, so we continue that way, and I want it to continue to grow out, so I want strength to be coming through this. So we're not looking at final designs, we're looking at different ways that we can perpetuate. Oh, I'm getting to use Ryan Neal words, perpetuate.
Have you swallowed a dictionary?
No, new ways that we can just continue to get this thing to continue to throw juices through the tree where we want it. So cut these back, as you will with any Chinese Elm, to be honest. I don't want anything up there. And this back, and indeed this scrapey one here is really not needed. Get rid of dead bits that I don't want. Get rid of that one. So it's keeping it all very, very tightly close in on the Cascade. I don't actually think the branches that I want have even started to grow yet. Concentrating on the main core here. Just helping the tree understand where I want it to go. So I'm going to keep clipping these back, just trying to create that general flow that I'm looking for from a Cascade. We don't want this one from the junction point here, so we'll clean that up. And that's the other thing I'll be doing, is clearing up junctions that just aren't going to be good. I've got a funny feeling that point there was a really nice branch, but it will bud. I'll get more stuff from there. This second part of the Cascade I want to be shorter, so I think if I find a natural place for that to happen, I think it's probably, oh, in fact there's one going down there, so take it there. We've got this one going down, we'll see what happens with that. And there's another nice one there, so we'll get rid of that one and the upward one. And ultimately that's what I'm looking to do. Anything that's growing up for a cascade, I'd rather remove. I want it to come out horizontally. Again, that means I don't need wire. So quite a lot of the branches I thought were going to make good cascades have died off. I imagine that's because I was a bit brutal with it. So here we go. I really could cut that off, I'm sure. This great big one here, which is opposite that, I want to keep that, so we will not have that. I don't even think that tail is going to be kept somehow. Tell you what, you tell me, do we need this tail here, or is it really superfluous? Every part of me is screaming, get rid of that. The tree starts up here, create the apical region up here from what I've got here. Don't need that. Got the twins there, which means anything here, like these ones, well, this is easy, this definitely needs to be removed. And really, if you think about this, all I'm doing is pruning for direction. So where I cut back to, we'll be activating the little buds behind the leaves, so I can see which direction it's going to go, hopefully. Now there's actually an interesting opportunity on this sister cascade to utilise something we've already got growing. Lost sight of what it was. Yeah, I actually don't like the straightness here. So what I'm going to do is recognise the fact I've got this twiggy bit growing here, which will come down and around. So let's get rid of that. And then hopefully this will be part of the minor cascade, so to speak. So we'll let that continue to grow, and then I can always clip and grow that back. And we don't want this coming across anymore. So we can see the structure I'm trying to develop there. We've got stuff from here and then moving down. Chances are I'll cut this one here as well. But anyway, that'll do for now on that. Well, yeah, I've just basically clipped the top back, the apical region back to buds that I thought may be useful. I removed probably sort of 6 or 7 inches off the top, but there's enough of a group of secondary or primary branches that potentially you're going to get buds from, and that's where I'm going to be able to create the crown that I want. As I say, I don't want to wire it, so I've got to wait and see what organically comes from this. And you know what? Time isn't an issue. That's really it is. So clearly that's the big question. Do I remove that? I'm thinking yes. All I've got to do now is add some wire onto this, just take that further down. Now this time I've applied the wire across both of those so I can manipulate both of them. And really, I think the front is going to be somewhere in there. That's what I'm thinking. Well, I do quite like something there. I don't think it matters right now, to be fair, so I'm just going to continue to probably just increase the wiggly bends in this a bit. So let's get on with that. Again, with wiring, you twist and rotate. As this goes on, this is getting more brittle, so I do have to be a bit more careful with it. Definitely have to be careful. It's right. Well, that's as far as I intend to go for now on this this elm. You know, I could probably do a lot better if I used lots of wire and got all the branches how I want them. But the challenge for me is really about keeping this as clip and grow. It also means with the amount of trees I've got, if I forget the wires on there, I'm not going to scar it. There's some very, very gentle movement. You know, if I said what would I do differently, I'd get the wire on a lot earlier and get that very, very severe moves in when it's a lot younger, because as it grows out, those severe moves get less and less. And I think when we look again in probably 3-4 months time to see just how much growth we've got up here, you'll start seeing how I think that crown is going to be able to develop quite naturally. Anyway, so I think with the aid of Xavier motion, we're now going to crack on a week further ahead, back to that Cotoneaster Cascade, and clip it back a bit more brutally. We like brutal, don't we? Well, great to see you. Guess what? Absolutely throwing it down with rain all day today, so I think we've had summer and it's gone. Anyway, I had a great wedding. Everyone enjoyed themselves, despite obviously all the issues that I talked about in that great show video. Things are looking better, and it looks like the management are going to come through with a few ways of making up for the absolute horrendous mess they made. But I did promise that I was going to show you what I actually need to do to this cascade. And look, flowers, absolutely beautiful, glorious, but you know what? I've got a problem. Well, we know I've got a problem. This straight section here, it's just, there's too much. I actually want it. Probably, we've got this little bendy one here. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to cut a bit lower down. So if we look in, it starts its descent here. Then we've got bud there, a little something coming there, and a little something there. So let's just cut this great length off. And we obviously don't want it coming all the way out here. There's something that's going down, cut back to there, cut that one off there, and we're going to start shortening off this, because if I still want to continue to go down, this branch needs to be a lot smaller, so we can let these little branches develop. Where I've got upward ones, let's get rid of them. In fact, we've got this one here, which is coming out sideways. I don't actually want that, so we'll get rid of it. This is coming all the way out, quite a long way. You don't need to come out anywhere near as much as that. In fact, we've got a lovely little branch all the way back here actually. Let's cut it right back to here. And you can see I'm going to go around where I've got opportunities of bringing it all the way back in. Anything up I'll get rid of. I'm not worried about the flowers anymore, and I'll clean it up. And I'll tell you what, why don't you go away, quickly throw the kettle on, and when you come back, how naked do you think this will actually be? Okay, well, go on, put your hands up if you think, yeah, he's been brutal again. Well, I've learned over time that taking it slowly and gently may get there in the long run, but also creates potential problems with taper. And I know a lot of you are not bothered about taper, but for this cascade I want to try and get the slow insinuation of age through taper perfect. And that means, you know, as soon as I can cut back to some suitable buds, I will do. I've removed an absolute heap load. Still got a few flowers on it. Probably haven't really touched anything back here, but truthfully, I've now can see clearly. Well, in fact, I'll show you. I think what we can see now clearly is we've got the direction that these different buds and branches are going to take in the eventual design that I want. And to do that, you need to see it. And to see it, you need to cut back. Loads of budding points here. It will be absolutely fine. So, from Xavier, in his bonsai retreat, retreating once more from the rain, I'll say thanks very much for watching. Do you know what? I found 3 or 4 more of these Cotoneasters sitting in my cuttings bin, and they're about yay long. So I'm going to be getting some wire on those, but you'll see those next year. Anyway, if you've liked it, you know the usual, big massive thumbs up. If you didn't see, you know, how to get your bonsai show ready and have a little bit of fun peeks at a couple of minutes of the wedding highlights, then go back and have a look at this video. Otherwise, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.